recognize the member from Vernon-Lumby.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and congratulations. I haven't had the opportunity since you have been in this role, so congratulations. It's been great to see you here. Before I would like to speak, I'm thrilled and honored and excited to stand here as Vernon-Lumby MLA. And I would like to acknowledge that my constituency is located on the traditional Syilx territory of the Okanagan Indian Nations. And I rise today to speak in support of Budget 2025 because it focuses on protecting the services people in this beautiful province rely on. And it focuses on strengthening our economy and standing united in the face of economic threats from the tariffs. Our budget is a measured plan to protect jobs and the services people rely on while preparing British Columbia's economy to withstand the unpredictable impacts of unjustified tariffs. Mr. Speaker, it's my first opportunity to speak since I didn't get the chance to respond to throne speech, so I would like to take a couple minutes to recognize my constituency and people who are the reason that I'm standing here for my second term in this House. So coming from a farmer family and then later working in healthcare as registered nurse in this beautiful province and patient care coordinator for over 20 years, having to go through many personal hardships after losing my dad and later my spouse to cancer and facing societal pressures, stigma, and others having to decide how my life will look like and what I should do and quit my job, sit home. Having to pick up pieces to rebuild my life together, and then entering in politics to help people. My journey was full of challenges, heartbreak, tears, and standing up for my rights, and most importantly, for the rights of my two daughters. It was not an easy journey, but I didn't do it alone. I want to acknowledge there are many incredible, kind, supportive, and inspiring people like my friends and coworkers, not only from Vernon-Lumby, but also a beautiful town called Terrace. And later, wonderful people, of course, from the Okanagan who supported my daughters, and people in Vernon welcomed us, three of us with open arms, and they have helped to start a new chapter of our life. My daughters, Manreeth and Jasreen, gave me so much strength, purpose, and courage and reason to live, and there were days I didn't want to live. And when I looked at those two little girls, that's where I got my strength, and of course, colleagues and friends who held me strong. So the reason I mentioned, I want to give hope to many people who may be facing challenges, and today, or maybe these weeks might be the toughest day of their life. I have had those days, and it's okay to share our struggles, and it's okay to reach out for help, because if I didn't do that, our outcomes and story would have been different. I would like to express my sincere gratitude and thank all constituents of Vernon-Lumby for electing me to be their MLA. I am truly honored, proud, and excited to be your representative again, and I do take this responsibility very sincerely. And I thank all the voters for practicing your democratic right, whether you voted for me or not. I'm MLA for all of you. And I am committed to serve you with utmost integrity, compassion, and care. No campaign is ever possible without the volunteers, so I'm incredibly thankful to my volunteers and lots of young people who came to support and door knock, and of course voters and donors who have helped me to get elected for the second term by putting their trust and unwavering support behind me. I want to express my sincere gratitude. Thank you for your hard work, dedication, and enthusiasm. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't thank my family who've been here for me, and most importantly, my older daughter, who is 23 now, and she is on her way to become a doctor. So hopefully, fingers crossed, she had her interviews done for the rural northern program. She wants to help people since she was 6 years old when she saw her dad being critically ill and given 2 months to live, and during his 2.5-year journey battling with cancer, that's when she says that, Mom, that's when I decided that I want to be like the people who are helping Dad and who are so kind. So I hope her dream will come true. And my younger daughter, who was a year and a half at the time of her dad's diagnosis, she's 18, and she's also working as a nursing unit assistant. She has a job at Kelowna General Hospital, but now filling in for temporary at the Vernon Downtown Clinic. So I'm so proud of my daughters, and of course my 9-year-old son, who gets adored by sisters and who gives me strength as well. So it's important to have the support of family and friends. When I first ran for the office, my son was only a few months old, and many people told me I should be staying home to raise my kids, and I said, don't you dare tell me. Us women, we know how much we can do, and we know how to get the job done. So we're the go-getters. So I want to take this opportunity to thank my kids, my family, and my mom, who's been my rock. She has been with me at every step of my life. And when I had to raise my daughters alone, and there were no childcare spaces available then, and not even affordable, if it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't have been able to contribute to our healthcare system for 2 decades. So thanks, Mom, for being there and for also telling others when society was setting some boundaries. It was my mom who spoke up. She said, my daughter is not a rag doll. After I became widowed at a very young age, she said she will decide what she want to do with her life. So those words, again, gave me strength. So, and my dad, who could not be here, who I lost at a fairly young age, and my parents have helped me to be strong, independent, empowered, and most importantly, kind and respectful human being. My dad always taught me that never let others push you around, but fight back fiercely when others do try to oppress and bully. The meaning of my middle name is Kaur, which I share with many Sikh girls around the world. It means lioness. And we are raised as warriors to stand against injustice, oppression, hatred, discrimination, and to protect human rights, gender equality, and to stand with the marginalized and vulnerable people in our life. So now I will share that the budget is why I want to speak in favor of this budget. It's a measured plan. This is very challenging time, Mr. Speaker, as we all know. And it is a time to deliver budget with significant addressing the uncertainty caused by news about tariffs. And it's the news that nobody should be taking lightly. And I can never justify anyone looking for an excuse for the Trump administration or him to justify these unjustified tariffs, because I don't think that person cares even people around him. So it is about what is right, and we have done this work. We've been the shining example of being good allies and good neighboring countries. So it's unfortunate we can't change that, but what can we change that? How do we stand in individual roles across the aisle to support the people who have elected us to represent them? So in my opinion, this budget carefully manages BC's finances, makes investments in critical public services to meet growing demand by putting people first and supporting businesses as we build stronger future. The focus is growing the economy by helping people train for better jobs, getting major projects built, and diversifying where we sell our goods. And also focuses on managing finances carefully to safeguard frontline services people depend on without hiking costs. Improving healthcare and education by connecting more people to family doctors and building good neighborhood schools for our school kids. And coming from healthcare background and being very passionate and having to go through those cuts which impacted the loss of our loved one and many patients that I took care of them, I know that we need to do everything possible within our abilities in a very nonpartisan way to do anything to strengthen the system, healthcare and mental health care system. So I'm happy that if we look at the factual data, that we are connecting more than 700 patients every day to the primary care network, whether it's doctors or nurse practitioners. That's definitely significant improvement. We understand the pressures of growing population, but we will not slow down. We'll continue to build on the progress we build. Of course, a budget focuses on delivering homes that people can afford, And from childcare fees to car insurance bills, I would like to mention that some of the investments have made a significant life-changing positive difference in people in then known as Vernon-Monashee, now Vernon-Lumby. We've built, since 2017, more than 1,000 affordable homes, which I'm very proud of, barely in 4 to 6 years. Whereas previously, in 16 years, there was probably 120 or 130 homes were built. So 16 years versus 4 years and more than 1,000. That includes first ever seniors housing units, 20 units in Lumby. And first ever student housing at the Okanagan College in Vernon's history in Vernon with 100 beds open now. I drive by, I see the lights are on, and I was there to do the ribbon cutting, and students were so grateful, sharing so many positive stories, how now they can get ahead when they have this affordable place to live. Not only that, Mr. Speaker, we also built, not announced, built homes in Salmon-Arm. They're all 60 units, as well as 350 or approximately in Kelowna, as well as Penticton will be getting the same, more than 100 units. So those are few investments, but also 2 units, a second phase we opened at McCullough Court in Vernon. And it is inspiring to hear from stories. There is a senior who came to door knock and sign wave, and she said, "Thank you," I quote, "Thank you, well done." And she said, under my post, and then she told me why she was there to support me. She said, "Thank you, well done for accurate information. I was put on a wait list with primary care clinic, was given a name via IHA social worker, and met with the nurse practitioner who is now my medical person. All this in December. The thrill of a lifetime, giving me a friend, my friend the same name she called and got in right away. I used the walk-ins for several years, brought my records, and new doc was delighted. It was so stressful for me at 77, being renovated, threatened with homelessness. Then God bless manager Leslie at McCullough. I am in at 900, not 1,300. Bless the government that believes people should be paying 1/3 of their pension for rent. I was finally able to fix my teeth. I support the NDP with much gratitude," end quote. And there are several other stories, but the reason I shared that story, it highlights why we need to continue to invest in people, and this budget does focus on that. A budget includes that we're building a stronger economy that works for all people. $172 million more over 3 years, including $30 million for integrated marketplace initiatives, and $95 million for critical highway and bridge maintenance. And when we talk about highway and bridge maintenance, again, we have partisan opinions and different, which I respect, but also let's not forget that when Coquihalla Highway was broken during those slides and catastrophic events we had, it was built merely within 36 or 38 days. And I had people from across the party line say, "I am very impressed with your government." And that was done in December with windstorms. And how was that done? Because you need to support people who are working there. You need to pay their wages. And if that means needing overtime, yes, but that has to be ready for people. That is one of the many testaments. And I struggle to understand, again, some members in the opposition. In the moment they say we're spending too much, the other moment we're not investing enough, and it's not my thoughts. It's many people who are watching, they were respectfully asking, like, what is going on in there? So I can only speak from my behalf, but I want to share that it could be causing confusion when we can't make our mind, do we want to support people or not? So this budget consistently focuses on the priorities. In this budget, we have $47 million for BC Transit Services. And another positive thing we did was waiving the bus fare for kids under 12 years old. Again, focuses on strengthening healthcare services people rely on, and $4.2 billion more over the 3 years, including $443 million to support primary care. And I would like to say that why do I, again, appreciate and very hopeful that we'll continue to do what we want to achieve to strengthen the healthcare system. In my riding alone, our government did create UPCC, Urgent Primary Care Center, in 2019. Of course, with the population growth, need was there, so I was happy to advocate, and now we're getting second urgent primary care center as well. We already have established primary care network, and they're doing phenomenal job. And we have Foundry now, secured the funding for Foundry to support youth mental health. And of course, toxic drug crisis. It has not lost on us, and every life lost is too many. And when we have our kids, we held them when they were born. No parent wants the future for their kids, and no child even grow up thinking that that's what my path is going to be. It's often those situations and circumstances that lead them there, but we need to work together to help them and destigmatize addictions and mental health. So therefore, in my community, under our government's creating thousands of recovery beds, a Red Road to Recovery, we've funded more than 30 beds, which are saving lives, helping people. Beds, of course, recovery beds at Bill's Place, which I'm grateful for Turning Points Collaborative Society for doing great work, and they have one of the best success rates. They even get calls from as far as New York, according to my recent tour. They've shared it over and over. So this is, again, we acknowledge the challenges, definitely, and that's why we need to continue to focus to deliver more and appreciate what's being done right. In working in Vernon-Jubilee Hospital, I remember for decades we were advocating for the new mental health facility, and I'm very happy and proud that our government did approve the business plan, and for 44 a new expansion of psych unit with 2 pediatric beds. That'll help, definitely. And again, when we invest in healthcare, we need to have those workers who are the backbone of healthcare system. And we've trained more than 8,000 care aides under the HCAP program. And I was very happy to announce that with then Minister for Mental Health and Addictions during the last term, towards the end of last term, that HCAP program is now expanded to train more mental health and addiction workers. And that will help to provide services and to help with the workload. And of course, we need to continue to do more, but if we look at overall number with the colleges, registry for nurses is gone up. And there are nurses I'm constantly in touch with, even in Alberta too. They are moving here because with their last contract, we're the first province to accept the nurse-patient ratios. And when I was at the bargaining tables, along with BC Nurses Union activists, we were laughed at by the governments of the day then, that this is not possible, keep dreaming, and those were the words that were used. We are the first jurisdiction in Canada to accept it, and second in North America after California. California did it very successfully. I know that we need to work on to train, hire, retrain, have staff, and that is where our health human resource strategy comes in effect. That focuses on those strategies: retention, training, retraining, and recruiting more. And of course, work is continued, but that helps us to get more nurses and doctors from Saskatchewan, Alberta, Ontario. And those conversations can be seen openly on social media and whichever platform, but I believe in person-to-person conversations, so that's reassuring as well. While we acknowledge the challenges, but we will continue to do what we need to do. And in order to support, we've added seats, 602 seats for nursing, and many others for other allied healthcare professionals. And of course, the rural northern program for medical school, which my own daughter is hoping to get into as well. That's what's gonna help. And then for other, we know there is a shortage in other labor sectors and skilled labor, and Future Ready Skills Grant that our government provided, which offers up to 400 courses. And that was the first time a grant that is helping many people who I talk to. It helps people doing courses in trades, education, childcare, healthcare, tourism, business, and several other areas of need. That is where I am very happy to support this budget, and I would like to continue this work, in which I am sure that this budget does focuses. Yes, we have challenges, but when we have uncertain times, there are decisions: do we make cuts, or do we be ready and be resilient and be prepared without cutting any services? And that is why I'm proud of this budget. It focuses on keeping the services that we have and also earmarking some money to continue to fund those programs and services that people rely on and the services that save people's lives. Of course, we've tripled the number of nurse practitioners. It's more than 1,000 now. We've matched more than 270,000 people with family doctor or nurse practitioners since July 2023. And also there were many families came to work on my campaign, and 2 of them moved back to BC from Alberta, and they shared with me that they've been waiting for a family doctor for 13 years, and now they got one. Another family of 4, they said when they got the call, they were connected by the health registry. They said there were options whether you want to have a doctor in Lumby or you want to have doctor in Vernon. So Lumby was available sooner, so they said Lumby we chose. And when we come to talk about paramedics, we increased their budget in 2027 by 25%, and I'm happy that Lumby, in my riding, we were one of the rural communities to get the under Alpha model, 8 FTE and 24/7 paramedic station. So childcare, my community got more than 1,000 affordable 10-a-day as well childcare spaces with brand new childcare center that will be built in Lumby. 2 are already built and providing excellent childcare in Vernon. 3rd one in Coldstream, which was part of my riding during last term. And of course, after school childcare services, where there's a mom, Emily, she said, I was paying more than $2,000, close to $3,000, and now I'm paying less than $300. And now her spouse and they can work, and there's teacher at high school when I go see high school kids. She moved from Alberta, and she was sharing with kids in a very nonpartisan way when we were talking about how governments work and how investing in people is very important. And I did not know. She shared her story that before the childcare was available, her and her husband had to work part-time, and now they're both working full-time, and they're contributing to the economy. So that is how it's all intertwined. And when we talk about agriculture sector as well, we know that agriculture sector has been hit the hardest, and I know growing up in a farmer family, as many of us people from North India, part Punjab, we come from multiple generations of farmer families, and we know looking at the weather and sky, you don't know. You're at the mercy of weather and climate if your family will thrive or if it'll be challenging year. So that is why the focus, and I'm very happy to get the role as a parliamentary secretary for agriculture. And I want to touch some of the things that we recently announced, $10 million for the fruit tree farmers as they had challenges for a couple of years, in addition to $5 million, which were recently given to support tree fruit climate resiliency programs. And since the devastating winter freeze a year ago, the closure of BC Tree Fruits Co-op, we have been working with tree fruit growers on a short and long-term solutions. So in 2024 alone, we provided approximately $58 million in tree fruit production insurance claims and $24 million of the $70 million enhanced replant program that is dedicated to tree fruit sector. $15 million agri-stability enhancement program, and $5 million was for fruit climate resiliency. Of course, there is $100,000 for BCFGA to support their work on emergency tables to protect growers impacted by these challenging times. We have supported the sector through fruit tree stabilization plan, perennial crop renewal program by BC marketing activities, as well as sterile insect release program and other ministry programs that support market development are increased. We do acknowledge that there are still challenges and we need to do more. That is why premiers created the task force table, which is people from the sector, experts, growers themselves, and they are going to help us guide how do we move forward for the long term. And also there is a program, $100 million for the agriculture water infrastructure program, and I was very happy to tour one of the farm in the Okanagan where they were showing the positive impacts of having availability to those funding. It helped to shape how their crops is and how productive their farm is now. So definitely there more needs to be done, and there's forest sector. We acknowledge that the looming uncertainty in forest sector, many members probably don't know, I lived in Mackenzie, and my late husband was born and raised in Mackenzie, worked in sawmills, and my father-in-law was millwright there for many, many years. And we know in 2003, when mills shut down, we moved to terrace. And then what happened? Mills shut down there too. And luckily, it was my nursing job who helped me to support my family while my late husband went to college again, and he did his computer programming course. But then, our future took a different turn. But having to live through those, I know I want to see people in forest sector that we see you, we know, and I am very grateful for the Minister of Forest, his constant work and his recent meetings with one of the major employer, Tolko Industries, and Mr. Thorlaxon, having to talk to them as well. And last year, we've announced the contribution, $8 million to manufacturing fund to help Tolko Industry to expand its Hafley Creek operation and construct a new facility that will house the new Hafley Creek engineered wood division. This expansion will help maintain approximately 250 jobs at the Hafley Creek site and will and create new jobs. And of course, in order to find out firsthand, I'm very excited. The minister is coming to the region, and we will be on the ground talking to people to understand and to get their ideas as well. And we need to work together, and rather than blaming what happened and showing, it's very important we speak truth. For me, whatever I will share here, and I ever share, for me, it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be truthful. And on the other thing, I don't seek perfection, I seek genuine connection. The reason for me being here, and many of us sitting here, we weren't even allowed to enter into this building. We didn't even have the right to vote until 1947. So I don't take this very lightly. This is like a worship to me, representing people. And every morning I remind myself that people, when they ticked beside my name, how much trust did they put? Because some left their political parties that they followed for many, many decades. And some even worked, and they were local EDA presidents of other parties. So it's up to us to maintain that trust and to maintain that integrity. And again, talking about the values, my parents always says that it doesn't have to be perfect. You speak truth, truth will always prevail. Spreading false information or political slogans may get us a win in that moment, but what are we doing justice? And then again, I just want to say thanks to the amazing people of Vernon-Lumby for their resilience, for their trust, for their kindness, and showing a great community spirit, solidarity, and support. And I proudly speak to support this budget and continue to be your strong voice and to make sure your priorities are taken care of and your needs are met. Unity is far greater than a division. We're stronger than together, and despite our differences, all of us have more in common than different. Let's condemn the ones who are continuously trying to divide us, fearmonger who spread false information for their own gain and attack, and who attack and stigmatize most vulnerable in our society. I want to share a quote from Sikh teachings. Aval Allah nur upaya kudrat de sab bande, ek nur te sab jag upjaya kaun pale ko mande. First, God created the light, then by his creative power, he made moral moral beings. From one light, the entire universe welled up. So who's good and who's bad? We're all equal, we're all one, and let's continue to stand strong in solidarity and support one another, especially local businesses, farmers, ranchers, tourist sector, and people who rely on our support and our trust, and support local, buy BC, buy Canadian. True North is strong and free, and I am honored to be here as Vernon-Lumby's voice. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.